Hello everyone. I am Lolly and I'm working on Memory Decks today. Now I have a whole lot of Memory Decks videos for you to binge. I will give you a link below. But I want to show you a new idea I had. I was just looking at a friend of mine, Bobby, put a finished Memory Decks in one of these cellophane bags. And I thought, well, how cool would it be if the bag was the Memory Decks? And so this is what I did. This is what I've come up with. And it is fun. I love it. So come and see how I did this. Okay, so in order to make this into a Memory Dex card, we need some sort of die or hole punch system to get the holes at the bottom and get it lined up. Now you could do this however you want. You could make it really interesting by making it, off kilter. I am going to line mine up, so I'm going to use the grid, put that right up against there, figure out how much I want to go down there, tape this with my yellow tape, and run it through the die machine twice. So I have these two, and I went ahead and just trimmed them off after I cut them, so they're 1 1/4 inch deep. Now I'm going to use some red line tape. I'm going to make sure that that fits there. I'm using these, which are the 4x6 cellophane bags. If you could think about using a zipper bag, but the problem is it's not as firm. It's more floppy. And so we want this to have a little bit of ability to stand upright. So I'm going to flip both of these over to the back. And one of these right here. And this is what's going to hold your bag. I'm going to peel both of those off now. So if you love Memory Dex, I run a Memory Dex Crafts group on Facebook. Okay, so I am lining this on the grid again. And it doesn't matter which way this goes because we're going to trim the top off here. So I'm going to line this up. You only get one good chance to put that together. That looks good. And now for the cardstock portion, we're going to glue the cardstock. And this glue that I'm using is the Tonic Studios or Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive. I put it in here. It's a lot easier to use. I used to carry these in my shop, these bottles, but I can't seem to get a hold of them anymore. Now, before I let that tape touch, because once the tape touches, you're out of luck. I'm just lining up the bottom where the glue is, the liquid glue, and get that where I want it. Then I'm going to put that down. Now, remember that the bag is sealed at the bottom anyway, because that's just the nature of the bag. And now what we need to do is just figure out how tall we want this. We need to leave room for a bit of a header. Kind of think about how tall you want this. You might want to make your header first. I'm just randomly picking. I have about 5 inches of that bag showing right now, but I will get my header and then figure out if I need to trim that down more. And this one, I used a die to cut the top. And I actually used this from Elizabeth Craft. It's this set here called Tags and More. And it was this die here, which is a little wider than I need. But I cut out the cardstock and then trimmed it down a little bit on each side. It made it perfect. I do both sides here. So what we need to do, I'm looking to see, I brought my cardstock up a little higher this time. Yeah, it's a little bit tall, but I'm going to use like just a square or a rectangle to show you that you don't have to use a die for this. So I have this 1 3/4 inch wide strip, and this is from the Graphic 45 collection. I know I need this to be 4 inches wide because that's how wide these cellophane bags are, and that's the width of a Memory Dex card. I'm also going to give you under this video a list, my entire playlist of all of my Memory Dex card videos. Now this is a die. I think I may have gotten it from Hobby Lobby or Michael's. It's Momenta, and it's this one here. And it's pretty cool. I don't know, it just says lot 6893. I don't see Paper Crafts 204-6316. Doesn't have a name there. Now you'll notice that this is too wide, so I'm just going to figure out what portion of this I want. And I'm also thinking I want to round these corners. So let's use the 1/4. 1 3/4 might be a little too tall. I'm thinking it's too oppressive to me. But this also gives me room to play around. So we'll do the same thing we did down here with the tape. However, what I need to do is fill my bag. So let's go ahead and do that. So now when you put a card in, if it's small like these, they will slide around and maybe end up upside down. So I put a little piece of tape on the back. This one is pretty big. I don't think it's going to turn upside down, but you see how it sinks down because the bag goes down to here. If you don't want it to sink, again, just put a teeny piece of tape on the back. My advice is to put the tape on the top, not toward the bottom, and I'll show you why. Again, I'm learning from experience, right? So hopefully you can avoid my mistakes. And that is, once you start putting this in the bag, as soon as this tape touches the inside of that bag, you're stuck. You just really cannot get it out of there. So I am going to try to open the bag, slide it in there where I want it, line it up, and then pull my finger off and do that. So now it's not going to sink all the way down, but you can see how I got these kind of crooked. Another thing you could do while holding it open is maybe put it on your ruler and slide it in and pull that out. And then whatever else you want in the bag. Now you'll see this punched out, these other pieces right here, and I could just toss those right in there. And then I am going to use one of my favorite pieces is this really sweet honeycomb charm. These, I got these from Amazon. You can use your shank removers and cut the little piece of the little loop off of there, but I don't think it really matters to me. I'm happy with it. Okay, and I love this. This is one of the not sequins, but table scatter kind of sequins that I got from Cartwright's. It's a really pretty honey color, and so I'm not making this a huge amount of shaker bits in there just because that's not my goal. You know, it's not to make it just a huge shaker. Okay, and don't forget you can always put something on the bag outside. So for instance, we have these stickers and we could use them on the outside of the bag. They don't have to go on the inside. Like this, for instance, see, right there. And he ends up bringing more interest toward the right. And I want something across the bottom. For this one, I use the little bee sticker. I can use this one. And now that gives me the ability to also put something else on there. So I can say, like, put one of these on there. And I'm putting that a little higher. It says The Hive. Love it, love it. And in addition to that, you could see that I used this little bee before. I think I want to do this, which is this really cute sunflower. Using the shank remover. To get that to stay there, I'm going to need to use the Power Tack because that's a good permanent adhesive. Right there. Keep in mind that when you put something really low down there, it makes the bottom of the card pretty thick. But I don't want to put heavy embellishments at the top, which would make the bag heavy at the top and tend to fall forward. So now let's revisit this. Now that I have my design in there, do I think that this is too tall of a topper? And I kind of do. So I think I will trim this down. Like I said, this was a 1 3/4 inch. I'm going to cut that down to 1 1/2. And I'm not cutting off the part that I rounded. I'm cutting off the straight edge. Let's see if that's more reasonable. I think so. And I think I also want to trim a teeny bit of this off. So I said this was about 5 inches, but I'm actually going to cut it another, I don't know, 1/4 inch off maybe. I think I'm going to like that better. Now you need to get this tape all the way across. This is what's going to seal your bag at the top, is having this topper on there and gluing the cardstock around it. Your embellishments won't be able to come out if you glue your topper really well. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to match this up right there on the grid. Whoops. Sure we are. And we're going to take this, get that lined up on the grid, and put that down. Okay. And then we're going to add our glue to the top of the cardstock. This is where it's important that you get this. You can also, if you want to make sure, you can put a little bit of tape inside the bag to get that to seal. But this, gluing this cardstock shut at the top, make sure we get all the edges on the sides here. That is going to keep everything inside and not let any of my goodies escape. I'm going to do the same thing in that I'm going to match the cardstock edge up first, the liquid glue part, and then bring down the taped area. So make sure you give this video a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. I do a lot of paper craft tutorials. I love paper crafting. Okay, so we're going to look at this. I think I want this to cut right at the end of this. I should be using my really tiny scissors here. This would be very helpful. And let's get that glued down here. So this is a Sweet Sugar Bell icing bottle, which I know Hobby Lobby has them in their cake decorating and cookie decorating area. Since I can't get them in my shop at the moment. There we go. Now I'm putting this toward the bottom on purpose because I want to maybe put a hole in the top. Burp my bottle, get the air out the tip, and put that cap back on. So I let this go a little bit outside the edge, which I kind of like. Okay, and now it's pretty strong. If I put a heavy embellishment here, it's going to make this fold over when it's in your memory decks, Rolodex, or whatever you're using. One of the things we can do is to use this, which is we call this a Euro hook. If I open this up, then I can see where I'm going to punch this. I'm just going to eyeball, and this is going to go a little bit through my design that I just put on there, but that's okay. You can see it's a little thin. I didn't go down very deep, so make sure you don't really go crazy putting something really heavy there. But very cute. And now I can put another sentiment here, like one of the stickers from there. Ta-da! So make sure you check out the list of all those videos that I have for Memory Dex. This is really fun. You could also, before you seal this bag, you could, write on the back here if you wish. So, put your name. You could also sign the back here if you're doing this as a swap for someone. How cute would these be sticking out of your Memory Dex thing? What a great memory. It's just a piece of art. This one doesn't really have any function as far as saying, oh, it's a recipe card or something, unless you want to put a recipe in there. But very cute, very fun. So that's stepping outside the box. Thank you for watching.